healthy. I'm back. I'm sorry, it took a couple days to upload because I had a little bit of health issues, but we're back. What is up, guys? You're tuning in to Nikki MGTV for another military video for all your military video needs. As always, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below if you have questions. But as always, let's go right to the topic, and that is about the Navy SEALs. The U.S. Navy SEALs, the most elite fighting force in the world. As many of you guys may know, some people will debate that with other stuff or other special operations and other communities as well, but respect against all. I'm gonna ask about what people want me to cover. They're like, Nikki, you gotta talk about Navy SEALs. And I'm like, I've never talked about Navy SEALs because I feel like there's just so much information already out there that my opinion and topic isn't really necessary. But since people keep asking for it every single time I put out little feelers, I guess I will finally address this in a video. Much respect to Navy SEALs. I've met them, worked with them a little bit before, nothing crazy. I just want to say that they are the most humble and respected people towards really anybody. That they don't walk around like they're macho guys, type A personalities, as many of you guys may think. I think that just because what you see in film or pictures or whatever else that's what they embody 24/7. They're humans just like we are. With that being said, I want to say I feel like the whole SEAL thing is a little overhyped by the whole idea of movies, right? Like, it is overhyped because there is a day in, day out, and I think a lot of you guys get this perception of these guys are sitting there doing, you know, fighting tactics and techniques every single day. And I had a very real reality on my small stint of being around SEALs, and that is they do a lot of the same nonsense that us regular Navy people do. One example are GMTs. I was around them, and they were complaining about having to do their online educational training every year. And I was like, man, shouldn't these guys be doing something more important than learning about cybersecurity or something that's so generic? But it's a requirement for everyone else, but it's the monotony. It's just like they have a monotonous day just like we do. And I think a lot of people disconnect that from movies and things like that. Now, I want to say some of you guys may get to work with SEALs at some point as a support role, even if you're not a Navy SEAL. Cool, awesome. But one thing I want you to remember is you're not a Navy SEAL unless you've been to BUD/S and you've done the entire pipeline and you have a Trident. So until then, even if you're at log suit at logistics support for a SEAL team or something, guess what? You're still not a SEAL. And that's what I want to make sure everyone understands, because I know there's people that have been parts of those commands that feel like because they're in that community for that short tour that they're now rating higher than they originally were. But no, you're still the same rate you are. You worked in a very cool community and atmosphere. And I can say that out of people that I've met that are very humble, that have been in those communities, that come back and they tell their stories of how awesome it's been. But I feel like I want to get that message across. It is possible to work with them, but understand you're not a SEAL. Just like my little stint, I don't go around bragging about it. This is my first time even talking about my few interactions with SEALs, and that was over a year and a half ago. You know, I could have talked about this when my channel was still going back then, but yes, realize that. I keep referencing the movies, and I say it because a lot of people don't understand this is not like the movies. And I've been in a more conventional fighting force aspect of being in a field, you know, rucking, doing things like that, as far as a not special operations community. And I will say that living without showers and heat and AC and stuff like that, and living in tents, like, it seems cool when you're looking at it through the scope of a lens of a film, but when you're actually living that and you're in discomfort, or you got something that you're uncomfortable with, not your day-to-day routine, it's a lot different actually being there, experiencing it. I say it because a lot of my audience is younger, but they haven't really had to embrace that and imagine what that is like, and I feel like that's a huge disconnect. That's why, like, Nick Bare talks about embrace the suck, and I can't say how much suck these guys have gone through, or people have been through many different versions of suck, but being able to actually embrace it and understand what that means is a very real reality I want to convey in this video. The next thing I want to convey is the SEALs or any other special operations community is going to require a huge level of commitment, not only to pipeline, but to your job. And that's the military in general. And you're talking about like having a civilian adjust to military life, that's already a huge commitment. Then a special operations community as well. That is a total, like, you are saying I'm putting the job before pretty much everything else on a lot of fronts, depending where you're stationed at, what the mission is. Obviously, obviously, and even on the conventional side for myself. But I've missed tons of birthdays, weddings, holidays. Like it's just part of the job, but that's the next step up of like, that is your life, you know? And even for me, if you think about it, and I talk to a camera about the military, I go to work for the military, I live in a military house right now. So like everything I do is military related. I've done a lot to be in this situation, and I'm thankful for where I'm at. I'm happy, but I want to say that it is a lifestyle. Like this is not just like, hey, I get to dress up in cool gear and run around and get tired and say, all right guys, I'm done, I'm tapping out, going out of here. No, this is like a full-on commitment that I don't think many people understand. And my one annoyance with people asking about certain communities, even the IDC community, which I'm in, independent duty corpsmen, or any of these very much harder schools, or special operations or anything like that, is a lot of people don't understand the level of commitment, and people ask questions about it because they're always curious. What's it like to be this, or how was your training like, or what was this gonna be like? And the reality, if you've been in the military, you may have already noticed this, but there's people that will come to you and say, man, I was gonna join the military, but blah 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 blah, right? Like that would, and it's annoying hearing that. And it's the same thing with my community and special operations communities, is like, I'm tired of people saying, I'm wanting to try that, or I'd rather just see action. Like I just get tired of people inquiring about stuff, because especially for the SEAL community, there's so much information. They're always wanting people, because the graduation rate is so low. Obviously, the more people they can fit in a class and all that, the better off they are. But a lot of people fail at the basics. And I know a lot of you guys are wondering what SEALs do and all that kind of stuff, but if you can't even get this PST done in a right time, pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, run, swim, and you can't do all that in a good amount of time, you might as well discount the rest, because that is like the baseline step one. You need to have this down packed. And this goes for all military fundamentals. There's literally a crawl, walk, run method with everything you do. People are asking me, how can I study for boot camp before I go there? How can I study for A school before I go there? And realistically, they're gonna show you the way. You just have to use your time, your effort, and your willpower to make it through, because nothing beforehand is gonna help you prepare. But it was, don't you think they'd give you guys the material for your A schools before you even left for the military? Probably, right? But it's probably not going to do anything for you until you're actually in that situation. One big risk of going to these special operations communities are that you can fail out. And we all know that because of the high attrition rate. But I want to say the risk of failing out of BUD/S or any of these other schools is that you can actually end up as an undesignated seaman, airman, things like that. Or maybe another rate if they allow you to cross into something else, if there's availability, and you can get lucky. But that's kind of the bummer about contracting for one of these SEAL things, is once you're out, you're looking at the fleet, and the Navy's going to put you where they need you. And trust me, it's not going to be a honorable thing that you're going to want to share with people that you are a BUD/S drop, but there's tons of BUD/S drops. And again, I don't want to say that as like I want you to be embarrassed, because a lot of people that are BUD/S drops have at least tried. And in my opinion, if you've at least tried, you screened, you went to BUD/S, you didn't make it, and you're weak-minded or whatever else happened, or you got injured, I don't care, you at least tried more than I did. So I give kudos for that. And this is on a personal note. Towards the end of the video, I want to say a lot of people have asked me why I never wanted to be a SEAL, or why I never tried out for SEALs. And it's honestly because I just never felt compelled to go to the community. I was obviously much skinnier and more fit early in my career, but I just never had that willpower to go for that. I always had the willpower of trying to get educated and do something else within the corpsman community, and it was just never what I wanted, if that makes sense. And that's because as I get older, I start to realize I want to work smarter, not harder, and I would like to see my job prospects, you know, widen up as I'm moving up the food chain of my career. And getting out, if I went as a SEAL and got out, you know, what are the job prospects? Obviously contracting, and there's some other high-end level stuff you can get into. But like the reality of what your skills are, you have to ask what is going to apply to the real world if you don't want to be in a government sector, for example. Obviously so marketable, just not what I like to be marketed as. I think that's something for people that are even infantry on the conventional side, or any other special operations. Understand your time in the military will be very cool, but how are you going to portray that when you get out? That's a very real question I want a lot of people to understand. But as always, guys, if you guys have questions, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. See you next time.